And we're live. Yes. Welcome to yet another edition of PCS Impact Q&A. I'm your host, MJ Boyce. I'm the Director of Community Outreach at PCS Grades. Boom. Oh, by the way, boom. With me, as always, is the lovely Megan Harless, our resident PCS reform advocate, and oh, by the way, resident VA, censored for little ears in your room, because we love you. We've got a great show for you today. And the why is it so great? Because we're going to be navigating those must-solve PCS issues that we've been seeing recently. And we've been hearing you, and we've talked to Transcom, and we've talked to the industry leaders with the International Association of Movers. And they've told us what's actually going on. And they've told us what we can do, and they provided that advice. And of course, guess what? We're taking those issues and we're breaking them down a little bit further. So if you are caught in any of these scenarios, you're going to know what to do, how to do it, and what regulation to drop if there is one, because it's time for what would Megan do? We're going to play What Would Megan Do? But before we get to Megan and those DoD updates and the rest of our What Would Megan Do, I'm going to hit up those housekeeping items for you, as I do every week. Ready, set, here we go. All right, folks, we've got the answers. And if we don't have those answers, guess what? We know who does. And if we don't know either of those things, we're going to take your questions for action and get back to you with an answer. Speaking of questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, shout outs, go ahead and leave those in the comment section below if you would. And you'll be entered to win some Hope Design Limited bling. But of course, we might actually do this on the back end next time, just because we have a lot of people returning from OCONUS and who are either OCONUS now, they're sleeping. So if they want to get on it, sometimes we got to let them in on it too. So comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, shout outs, leave those in the comment section. If you know somebody who's PCSing, drop their name in that comment section or share this webinar with them. LOL smiley faces are totally encouraged in our comment section, but unfortunately don't count towards entry to win. Okay. Now, let me see. We've got that. We bring the experts to you. Experts like U.S. Transportation Command, experts like the International Association of Movers, experts like you've got military employment advocates, we've got military education specialists. We bring these experts to you so that you can ask your questions in real time. But sometimes you're going to have questions that are specific to you and your military family. And in those specific instances, your two forever and always resources will be, number one, your local chain of command. Number two, your local transportation office. Those are the people who know you. Those are the people who are dealing with your stuff. Those are the people who can take your issues and further them for action. Last, but certainly not least, and I will modify this all day, people, we've got to continue to do our part. Keep doing your part. We got to keep flattening that curve, and you know why, because you're going to tell me why. When we flatten that curve, we are going to flatten Murphy with it. You hear us, Murphy? We are coming for you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Megan for those DoD updates. Megan?
Hey, everybody. So just a few things for you today. The first thing that was put out on the AMC page, and I will go back and find that link to drop it below, is that if you are going to an OCONUS location like Japan, Germany, Korea, you are going to need your government passport for that. I forget what it's called, the no-issue passport, but your government passport that you get when you are on OCONUS orders, you are going to need those now. During COVID, because there was delay in passport offices, they had kind of changed that around some to where you didn't need that passport. You could go with your tourist passport, you could go with your orders and such, but now that we are coming out of COVID, those regulations are changing to go back to what they were pre-COVID, so you're going to need that passport. If you have issues or questions about that, you need to contact your installation passport office that can assist you with that. We've also seen a lot of questions and concerns about DPS and logging in and having some technical errors there and the website kind of going down or not working at all. They do bring the site down for some scheduled maintenance. And if you are having issues, you can either submit a help desk ticket from the DPS website, or you can also give the help desk a call. They are phenomenal at helping you walk through whatever issue is that you are seeing on your computer without them being able to see it. They've helped me several times with that, so they are really great at what they do. So if you have issues with logging into DPS, definitely reach out to the help desk to assist you with that. So that's all I've got for now. I'll send it back to you, MJ.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Megan. You know, you guys, Megan goes down the policy rabbit hole so that we don't have to. She goes down that rabbit hole and she gets to break down that policy for the peeps like me, like my 22-year-old daughter, who will soon execute her very first PCS within the next 12 months. And I apologize because I hope you see it. Facebook, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Facebook changed some more things without asking. Don't know if you knew this. Just trying to figure out how to, you know, like share the wealth of this this webinar on the Facebook, and it decided to change. I hate change. I know change is the only constant in military life. Okay, I get it. But Facebook does not need to be one of those changes. All right. We're going to get down to business, peeps. We're going to get down to business. Let's go ahead and get down to business. I'm going to dive into these questions. Megan, are you ready?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. So one of the first concerns, like, about PCSing, okay, is almost always going to be that expense part of it, okay?
Yeah.
So the expense of moving, because it's still a thing. What would Megan do to make sure that moving is not so expensive?
Yeah, so there's several things, and if you've been a follower, listener, viewer of ours in the past, you've heard us talk about some of these things. So the first thing to do is to try to maximize the PCS cash that you have at the beginning of the process. So you can do that by, you know, we always talk about the purge, that great clean out of cleaning through every room, every closet, getting rid of what you don't need before you move, because one, it's going to eliminate things to not count against your weight allowance, but it's also going to provide you the ability to go have a yard sale and to make some quick PCS cash. So you can use that for your incidentals. Should something happen, you've got a little extra cash in your pocket that you can use for the PCS process. The next thing is to really make sure you're utilizing your entitlements to the best of your ability for what they are designed for. So the first one is your TLE, TLA, where they will cover some lodging for you. If it's TLE, it's 10 days combined on either end of your PCS, and that's usually CONUS moves. That's lodging that, you know, you can get reimbursed for if you get your stuff packed up and clear down of your home. You move into a hotel for a night so you can get your house cleaned before a clearing type of deal, or you arrive at your new location and you got to stay a few nights there before getting the keys to your new home. You can claim that lodging and be reimbursed for it. If it's OCONUS, I believe it's 5 days TLA, so that's 5 days on the CONUS side. And then when you get OCONUS, I believe it's 30 days. You can extend up to 60 and 90 depending on your location and what the housing situation like there is as well. So it's making sure your TLE, TLA is working for you. Your per diem, making sure that's working for you. So your per diem is that you are getting paid. Each person of your family is getting a percentage that's being paid. So the service member is getting 100% of $151. Your spouse and any dependents that are 12 and over are getting 75% of that, and any dependents younger are getting 50%. So you're getting that per day of your travel days. So if it takes you up to your allotted amount of travel days to make sure. So if you are allotted 5 travel days and you use 6 travel days, you're only going to be paid for 5. If you have 5 travel days, but you only use 3, you're only going to be paid for 3. But a lot of people use that per diem. Some folks will stay cheap at their hotels. Some folks will pack extra snacks or sandwiches or whatever it may be, so that way they don't have to eat out so much to help with that cost a little bit. So you get a little bit more of your per diem in your pocket. So make sure you got that working for you. The other expense or entitlement that you can get is your DLA, dislocation allowance. Everybody can get dislocation allowance. There are a few caveats to that, such as if it's, I believe, your first PCS and you do not have dependents, and if it's a separation PCS, that you don't receive that. But any other PCS, you should receive DLA. And it's designed for other non-reimbursable expenses. So if you need to clean out your home and you want to hire a professional cleaner to come in and handle it, you can use your DLA to pay for that. If you need to get a rental car, you can use your DLA to pay for that. And so it's really important to sit down and go through making that PCS budget of what your entitlements are and what you expect to pay, so that way you can really be sure that you're making your entitlements work for you and that you're not going to have this huge, massive PCS debt at the end of it. You are muted. You're muted, MJ.
Oh, dang it, I was on a streak. I went like 2 or 3 webinars without going on mute. What in the world? We are like back. I blame Facebook. Facebook just got all up in my head. It's your fault. Be nice. Okay, so speaking of DLA, here's the thing. Obviously, DLA runs out after 10 days, right? Is that no?
TLE,
I mean,
not DLA.
TLE. Sorry,
Yep,
TLE runs out after about 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Is that DLA, like, especially with the way things have been working lately, with a lack of housing and people are having to stay in temporary lodging a little bit longer? Which one of those entitlements can assist us instead of having us pay out of pocket? Like
so use your TLE first. That will be your up to 10 days. If you're CONUS, you're up to 10 days combined on either side of your travel days. If you go past that 10-day period, then your DLA can step in and help cover that additional amount.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay. And of course, if you ever run into an issue where neither one of those things are covering you, your chain of command and your local transportation office. And again, we love our aid societies. We love our AER. We love our Navy Marine Corps Relief Society. We love our relief societies. And so, I mean, they can help when you're in a pinch as well. Hopefully you don't go that route though.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So this year it's been unique in its own challenges in so many fronts. So let's start with what families are currently experiencing like now. A family has orders. They have their move submitted to DPS. They're planning for a mid-August move. They have not heard a thing. What would Megan do?
So the first thing would be to contact your local transportation office. They are going to be the ones in the know of what your PCS climate is at your current location. So some locations are not booking anything else until August 1st hits just because of capacity issues. Other locations are completely booked through mid to late August. So you really need to have that communication with your local transportation office to see what the situation is like at your location. Is it going to be where they're going to be able to get you movers booked, but it just hasn't gone through the process yet? Is it something where you need to look at adjusting your dates some if you have some wiggle room within your timeline? Maybe, the date you're requesting, August 15th, is blacked out and there is no capacity there, but if you shift your date to August 17th, there might be some capacity there to be able to get you picked up. So definitely open that communication line with your transportation office about what the situation is like at your location and what the chances are of getting a company booked for you. There are a lot of folks that are turning to do a PPM, personally procured moving themselves, just because there is some backlog due to labor shortages, truck driver shortages, some other issues going on right now. But it's really important to have that communication with your transportation office and just ask them what the situation is like at your location.
No, for sure. And and I guess that's, in case, how many times have we heard this PCS season? Short orders, and even those who've had them, like transportation can't pick up their stuff until a month after we report, or, hey, I have to stay here and wait. A lot of times if you can get to it in time, what we say is go to your chain of command so that maybe the chain of command can move that report date, calling the gaining command, saying, hey, we've got this going, please advise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone approaching their commands are like, everybody is going through some minute aspect of what we're going over today. So Caitlin, thank you for telling us, if always keep that chain of command informed. Same with the transportation office and the transportation providers. Let's see, and if you do have any additional questions after this, you hit us up at the PCS Grades Facebook page. If you have any additional questions, either myself or Megan will get back to you too.
And also for you, Caitlin, in that situation, we've seen a lot of folks as well where they have worked to be able to either they pack themselves and put it into a storage unit, or they were able to get a local company to get their stuff packed and put into local storage, knowing that they would be waiting a month until it could get shifted or shipped to them. So it's another conversation to have with your local transportation office to see like, hey, what are the chances, opportunities for you to be able to put it into your own storage, or for, if there's a local company that can just come pack it up and put it into storage. Might help out with your situation. We've seen that happening at some locations. So definitely a conversation worth having with your local office.
For sure. Now let's first move. Thank you, Caitlin. Shout out. Okay, let's just go ahead and expand on this situation just a little bit more. So let's say families the family's been assigned a TSP. Okay, TSP has been assigned. No local agents, no packers, no loaders, no unloaders. And it's getting really, really, really close to their move date. No packers, loaders, or unloaders have been assigned. No agents in the local area. What would Megan do?
So the first thing here would be to, again, have that open communication line with your TSP. You should have a move coordinator assigned to you from your TSP, and you should be communicating and talking with them, asking for updates, asking for the possibility of what it's looking like, getting a local agent assigned. We have seen some local agents get assigned like a day to 3 days prior to the job actually happening. So don't freak out yet, but definitely have that line of communication with your TSP to ask them, what is the situation? What are the odds of this happening? Now, we've seen some situations where TSPs have been like, I can tell you we're not going to be able to get you serviced. You should just cancel it and do a PPM. Before you cancel anything in DPS, you need to stop and you need to go then talk with your transportation office, because here is the deal. If you go in, like you talk to your TSP and they say, no, we're not going to be able to, like your best bet's going to be to do a PPM at this point, and you go into DPS and you cancel your household goods shipment to set up a PPM, that TSP in a way gets off the hook a little bit because you canceled the move, they did not. If they cannot service you, you need to tell them, I need you to, from your side, from the TSP side, for them to turn your shipment back or to cancel the move. When they do that, if you have any additional expenses, you could file an inconvenience claim with that TSP. And we're going to drop some links here about the inconvenience claim as well. But you could file an inconvenience claim with them if your transportation office cannot get your shipment reassigned, rebooked to another moving company with your same pickup date. So if your TSP is saying, hey, you might want to look at doing a PPM and setting that up, talk to your transportation office on your installation first. Don't cancel anything without talking with your transportation office, and to make sure the TSP cancels it from their side, not from your side.
What she said.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper on that. If they have a local agent, if they do have local agents assigned,
Mm-hmm.
Those packers movers, but the TSP ends up saying, hey, can we shift these dates? And now they're no longer picking up on the agreed upon pickup date. And let's say the family can't clear housing on time now. Mm-hmm. What would Megan do?
So this is where that inconvenience claim really comes into play on the front end. And we're going to get that link dropped into the comments for you so you guys can go back, reference it, be able to read the language yourselves to understand it some more. But if for some reason your TSP misses that agreed upon pickup date, say your agreed upon pickup date is July 20th, and they're just like, no, we can't do that. It's going to be July 22nd. Well, your agreed upon pickup date is 20th. And so now if you can't clear your housing on the 21st, 22nd, whatever it may be, as you told your landlord, you can now go back and file an inconvenience claim with them for missing that agreed upon pickup date. So if you go back to our most recent webinar with Mr. Rick Marsh from Transcom, we asked about this question to him directly as well, where he had mentioned, you could request rent. If your landlord says, well, I have to prorate your rent and it's an extra so many dollars a day type of deal, you could take that to your TSP and request that as part of the inconvenience claim. If you can no longer get your house cleaned and now you are having to pay additional fees because you had to cancel your cleaners to come in, and now you're just handing the keys over to a dirty house. Those fees you can also request as part of the inconvenience claim as well. So it's a really sucky situation to be in, but we saw this some last year and in the previous years where there's really no recourse, like the family just kind of had to eat it. So we were able to get this business rule change to have an inconvenience claim on the front end for these situations. So if you have your agreed upon pickup date and the TSP is not picking up on that date, go ahead and let your move coordinator know that you want to file an inconvenience claim for any additional fees and expenses that you may have.
Good call. And I'm so glad we have that recourse, because I can tell you firsthand, I certainly did not know we had that, because if I knew we had that, I would have done that. Yes, I would have done that for real. Okay. So now how about in terms of a driver? Okay. Shipment's packed, picked up, totally sitting in storage, and probably going to miss the RDD. Okay. So what would Megan do that happened?
So again, this is another inconvenience claim piece. This is now on the back end or the delivery end. So if your RDD is missed, the RDD is the required delivery date. So when all the information is put into DPS and it's put in there about what your agreed upon pickup date is, it generates, the RDD based off of travel time, distance, all of that stuff. So when your RDD is coming close, it's your RDD, you're supposed to have your stuff delivered, but you find out like there's no truck driver to deliver your stuff because either it's sitting in storage somewhere. You can request, again, an inconvenience claim through your TSP. So again, you call your move coordinator and you let them know. So this inconvenience claim on this end is going to cover essential items. So there's two ways that you can be paid for it. There's the first option, which is the baseline per diem rate. So it's the meals and incidentals per diem base rate for the service member only for up to 7 days. And you don't need to save receipts for that. So if you are like a family like I am, where we plan to house camp because we have many children and we have many pets, and being crammed into a tiny hotel room is just not fun. So we plan to house camp. So that per diem option would be really great for us because we have our air mattresses already and I have our towels already. If you are a family that is not planned for house camping by any means, you can also purchase items off of an approved list of essential things, which is usually an air mattress, a set of sheets for your air mattress, a pillow, a set of towels, a basic pots and pans set type of deal, just basic essential necessities. You can purchase those items, save the receipts, and you can turn those in and be paid what your expenses are. Now, keep in mind, we're talking store brand type of items here. So like, I forget what it is. Walmart, I believe their store brand is like Mainstays. So like the
Mainstays. That's Target. You're thinking of Great Value.
Great Value. There you go. I get them confused, y'all. So like the store brand type pillow, they're not going to reimburse you for the $80 memory foam gel middle cooling whatever pillow. So keep in mind it is going to be like store brand type items, but you can be reimbursed for them. So that way you can be able to live in your home, have basic necessities, and things like that. So, but it's also a definite conversation to be having with your move coordinator and to call them daily for updates as to when your shipment is going to get delivered.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So through this process of PCSing, we've been having issues. Okay. Issues like little communication, issues like packing crews wanting to do things that really just don't seem okay. They're just not all right. Who can we contact?
So the first place you should go is that move coordinator from your TSP, because they are the ones that are managing your move. They are the ones that are contracting out to the local agents. They're designed to be your single point of contact for all questions, concerns, and issues. Sometimes, as we have seen this summer, not all move coordinators are created equally. And so sometimes it's very hard to get a hold of one. Sometimes there's little communication that comes from them. So if you're having that kind of issue, then you go to your local transportation office. Again, not all local transportation offices are created equal. A lot of them do a really great job, but sometimes depending on the size of the installation, depending on what's going on, again, they also get slammed with a lot of questions too. So there might be some slow communication happening there as well. If you struggle getting a hold of them, you can also reach out to the local gypsum. Local regional GPSO, the Joint Personal Property Shipping Office. So this is like the next level above your local installation. So you can get that information on move.mil. You go to the customer service tab, you input your zip code, and it will pull up like the contact info for your local office and then for your GPSO as well. You can contact your GPSO for issues as well. Also on that same page on move.mil on the customer service tab, if you scroll down, there are the phone numbers for each of the service branch call centers. They all have a toll-free 1-800 number that you can call, and that place is dedicated directly for personal property shipment issues. So you go through everybody else, you can't get a hold of somebody, you can give them a call, and you can also give the Transcom hotline a call as well.
Awesome. And just for the purview, I mean, we didn't plan to drop this, but the move.mil customer service.
Yes.
I got the link.
You got it?
Got it. Bam.
Perfect.
Bam.
It's right
Drop
there.
it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
hot.
Yeah,
go there. The first option allows you to put in your zip code, and you can get all your local office numbers, and I believe it provides you emails as well. Same thing with your GPSO. And then on that main piece, if you keep scrolling, you'll see the service branch call centers, and then you'll see the Transcom number. It says help. I believe it says help for non-technical issues. That's the Transcom hotline number.
Gotcha. So I'm hearing myself again. Okay. See, we've got that resource for you. We're going to drop that resource. People, we know you know people who are PCSing if you're not yourself. I can guarantee you, you might not think you need that link right now, but you're going to at some point. And it's got all the information that you need.
Just a good one to have on hand, just to be able to just bookmark it in your phone. And that way during your PCS process, there's an issue, you can't get a hold of your move coordinator, you quickly, click on that link and you can get the information you need.
Okay, so let's talk weight limits.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I've been seeing this everywhere. Okay, so let's say that my family's weight limit is 12,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. Okay, we get an email from DPS that says our weight was 15,000 pounds. I do not think that we are overweight by that much. What would Megan do?
Yeah, so this is a definite hot topic going on in a lot of the PCS groups right now, a lot of the local spouse groups. So it's important to keep in mind, the first thing is that weight that is in DPS that generates the email from DPS that says your weight is whatever it is, that weight does not include the packing material or pro gear weight deductions. Only the TSP is not allowed to take those off. Their job is to input whatever the total weight is from weighing your shipment. Only the local transportation office can take those deductions off. So it's 10% for packing material. It's up to 2,000 pounds for pro gear and up to 500 pounds for spouse pro gear. That's approved. So if you're looking at your 15,000 pound shipment, you subtract 1,500 pounds from that for your packing material deduction, and then up to another 2,000 to 2,500, depending on what your pro gear weight is, on top of that as well. So it's important to note that weight in DPS does not include those deductions. The second thing is that if you believe you are overweight and that there are issues there, request a reweigh. You need to request it immediately. Let your move coordinator know. Let your local transportation office know as well about wanting a reweigh done. You can do a witness reweigh, so you can tell them that you want to be there to see the reweigh done, and they need to provide you a time and a location that you can show up to watch the truck be weighed so you can see how it is being weighed. So you've got all of those different things that you can do. Now, it's important to know, once your stuff is delivered, the reweigh is out the door. Like, that's no longer an option. You have to request it before you accept your shipment. So if they show up with a truck in your front yard and the reweigh hasn't been done yet, you stop, you call your move coordinator, let them know, and you go follow them to a scale to get that reweigh done.
And they're not allowed to start unpacking it before they say it was this much weight, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you can tell them that you're not accepting the shipment until the reweigh is done. A lot of times I've seen, like, when that happens, like, they go find the nearest, scale that they can weigh it on. They weigh it, and then they turn around and drive right back to the house and start unloading it then. But yeah, you need to make sure the reweigh happens before you accept delivery, because once it's delivered, then you're kind of in a pickle.
Right. And Kara, shout out Kara. Kara, she asks, have there been any changes at all in the ProGear weighing process? And do they need to weigh it separately from our shipment, or is it estimated by box?
So there's two ways that it can be done. So if there is a scale available, so I've seen movers have brought scales to the home. We had our last shipment, they brought a scale to our home. Or if you have a bathroom scale, that can be used too. But they should be weighing your, like you have a box that says ProGear, they should be putting that box on a scale and weighing it, and then writing the weight on the box and on your inventory. If a scale is not available, then they can do what's called a constructed weight, which is where it's based off of the size of the box. So say you have a, not the dish pack, but the medium size boxes. I believe they're 4.5 cubic square feet of space. So they can take the 4.5, multiply it by 7 pounds, which is what they estimate. That's 7 pounds per square foot. So the 4.5 times 7 would give you the weight for that box for ProGear. Now, for some reason, you think they're estimating low, say it's a tote box, or, one of those big tough boxes where maybe you don't know what the cubic size of it is and you feel like they're just estimating low and giving a general weight. You could pull your ProGear out. I've seen some people do this before their move. I've seen some people do it after their move if they feel like their ProGear weight has been low, where they've taken all their ProGear. They would load it into their car, just like doing a PPM or a partial PPM. They'd go weigh their car full and empty with their ProGear and use those weight tickets to say, hey, on our inventory, they only gave us 600 pounds of ProGear, but we went and weighed everything labeled ProGear. Here's the weight tickets for it, and it says we actually have 1,500 pounds. And so I've seen some families do that if there's been some questionable things going there. But they either need to weigh it on a scale there, or they can use that constructive weight.
Got you. Okay. And then, Gina, that's okay. We'll catch you on the flip side. We know that ordinarily we're doing this on Wednesdays. Everybody's primed for Wednesday because Wednesday is webinar day. But it just so happens that the lovely Megan Harless over here had a birthday yesterday. So shout out, if you're watching this now or on the replay, go ahead and give a birthday shout out to Megan. So yeah, we gave her the day off. We decided to switch it up a little bit. Okay. All right. So we went over that weight aspect. So one of the worst parts of PCSing, in my opinion, is the unpack.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's reality hitting me in my face. It always seems like it takes just forever, right? What would Megan do about the unpacking to make this process just a little bit smoother and, oh, by the way, quicker?
So again, if you've been a viewer of ours in the past, you have seen our webinars where we have talked about pre-packing and how me and my family pre-pack. So one way to make it a little bit easier is that pre-pack process, where it's very simple. You're putting, trash bags over your hanging clothes. That way it kind of confides them to a bag and you don't have a shirt falling off the hanger and being lost into the bottomless pit of a wardrobe box. It's taking toys or, little office supplies and putting them in Ziploc bags. That way you're not standing there trying to shake Lego pieces out or little mini pieces of toys or paper clips out of a box at the end of the day. So we do a lot of pre-packing. So part of making it easy with the unpacking piece is that pre-pack. So you can just cut open boxes and you can take those bags out. And I can take all my office supply bags and I can pull them out of a box, set them on my desk, and I can get that cardboard box and that packing paper out of my home. I'll go back later, unbag stuff, set up my desk, but it's just an easy way to get those boxes out of your home. So you've got room to maneuver, to walk around, and to do things. Again, with the unpacking, you have the ability to have the movers unpack your home as well. You can ask for a full unpack, or you can ask for a partial unpack. The key to it is being involved in the process, especially with a full unpack. So it's like as they unwrap a plate, you are putting the plate into the cabinet type of deal, because the regulation is that they would cut open boxes and they would unpack items and put it on the nearest clean flat surface. So we're talking tables, counters, a shelf. If you're in your kitchen, you have your cabinet doors open, they can put them, on the cabinets where they can reach them. But they're not going to organize your home. So if you want your Starbucks mugs in alphabetical order, they're not going to do that. They're just going to put your mugs in a cabinet if it's open, or they're just going to set them on a shelf. If you want your books on your bookshelf in alphabetical order, they're not going to do that. They're going to take the books out of the box and set them on the shelf. And once the flat space kind of runs out, like the unpacking kind of stops. A full unpack can be a very anxiety-driven event for a lot of people, because it feels like a lot of chaos happening in your home. So many people at least ask for a partial unpack. We always do a partial unpack. And so for us, what we have found that works is our wardrobe boxes, that those get unpacked because, again, I've pre-packed a lot of things. So it's too easy to open the wardrobe box, grab the hangers that are zip tied together, and hang them on a rack in the closet. It's too easy. Again, all that stuff that we have pre-packed, I know what boxes those items are in. To open those boxes, pull the bags out, set them on the office desk, or the Ziploc flex totes with our clothing in it. To open those boxes, toss those flex totes in a corner and continue on. For my kitchen, there's some items I prioritize in my kitchen. So because I get tired of eating out, I like to get back into the kitchen and cook. And so I need my kitchen. The kitchen's like the first room that gets set up in our home. But I know the boxes that have my pots and pans, so those can get unpacked. I know the box that has my bakeware, so that stuff gets unpacked. I know the box that has my everyday dishes and glassware in them, and that gets unpacked. So that way I can take those, they get unpacked literally from the box into the dishwasher, and that dishwasher gets turned on to get the first load done. And we've got space to continue unpacking some more things to get that kitchen put together. And anything that gets unpacked, all of those boxes, all of that paper, the movers will take it with them. So it's less mess in your house. It's less stuff that you have to figure out how to get rid of, but it just helps make the setup of your home a little bit easier when you do either a full or a partial unpack.
Sorry, it took me a second. Well, no, that makes sense. And I just a shout out to Nicole, because I did allow the movers to unpack when I finally realized that they were supposed to. But I get where you're at, because this is exactly why I would feel this way, and I have felt this way because this happened. Nicole, shout out, says I would have never allowed movers to unpack. I was always scared of the kids getting into it before it gets put away, which is a yes. I get you. I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, we totally make our kids, make your kids earn their keep in the unpack or the pre-pack process. Like if you're pre-packing, the kids can put their stuffed animals into a trash bag, which is what we do because it keeps them together. On the other end, it's easy. You open a box, you pull out the trash bag full of stuffed animals, and now you don't have a million stuffed animals scattered all over the room. They're in a bag that you can easily move that bag from corner to corner as you get the room set up. So make your kids earn your keep. Make them, like my older kids, like they totally take the Ziplocs into their room and all of their toys get bagged up. My daughter is really great at putting magnets on the fridge when we unpack. So we give her the bag of magnets when we get to it, and she'll stand there and she'll get them put away. So that's, another thing that can get out of there. So definitely make your kids earn your keep. If you have little kids and you need them to be occupied, find a big box, get that box unpacked first, have some markers on hand, and let them sit in the box and color it away. It goes a long way to entertaining little children. You'd be really surprised at how long they can color a box for. That way they're, occupied, out of the way, and you can continue doing stuff. I will say one thing that I did forget, that you must unpack on delivery day are your high value items. Just because the inventory form, the high value inventory form, when you sign it on delivery day, you are signing it that everything had showed up and is in good condition unless otherwise noted. And so you need to unbox your high value items and you need to inspect them and check them on delivery day. And anything that's broken, damaged, or missing from high values needs to be noted on the lost or damaged form at delivery. It's another form that your driver should show up with all of your paperwork to note those things, but you have to open and inspect your high value items. If you do not, and then you find out something's broken later, you will probably have that claim denied because it's supposed to be done on delivery day. Now, if you're a person like me and you're just like, oh, but we have such a bunch of high value items, like I don't want to make them stand there while I have to unpack everything. Don't feel bad about it. Just, let them go take a water break, whatever it may be, and get those items unpacked. I have a ton of china and crystal and breakable things.
Polish pottery.
I have like a big collection of Polish pottery as well. We have a good collection of sports memorabilia stuff, of electronics, of antique furniture stuff that goes on our high value list. All of those breakable things that I have are like always individually wrapped in the box, and it takes some time to unwrap them, but they wait, and I hold on to that form until I can open and inspect every little piece. So it's very, very important that you open and inspect your high value items on delivery day.
Very important. Because if you don't, Murphy will crawl right up there, right next to you and get cozy.
And I want to go back to this. I know you had this up there a minute ago of Kara with coloring the box. I also want to say packing paper makes a great thing to color as well. I can't tell you how many times I would just find some, packing paper while I was trying to make an empty box, and I'd say, here, color this. And they thought it was the greatest thing because it's bigger pieces of paper and like there's a shiny side to it. And they think it's like the greatest thing in the world. So packing paper can go a long way to entertaining kids with coloring. If you have older kids, packing paper goes a long way to making some really big flying paper airplanes. So don't underestimate the packing paper in the boxes and having them entertain your children.
No, for sure. And I'm just going to throw this up there because we get this a lot, especially when it comes to those high value items, that high value inventory. Kara, shout out Kara. Kara said, I had a mover tell me that the high value list is only for irreplaceable items, but it's more about like a dollar amount per pound, correct?
Yes. And when we get done with this webinar, Kara, I'm going to grab the link for the regulation and I'll respond to your comment with the link to it. But it is generally items that are $100 per pound, china, crystal, electronics, collections, antique stuff can go on that high value list. The hard to replace items can go on it. The irreplaceable items can go on it. But there is a whole slew of things that is allowed to go on that high value inventory. And we've heard, and we've discussed this before, go back and check the webinar about where we discussed the regulations in detail. And we discussed this in there as well. But you really need to be able to have that on hand. We've seen where some movers, some crews have said, it has to be $2,000 to go on there. It has to be $5,000 to go on there. It has to be some crazy thing to go onto the high value list. And that is untrue. At a minimum, always have that regulation and push back that says, no, it says $100 per pound, china, crystal, collectible items, furniture, electronics, those can go on there and be like, my crystal that I have, my Waterford crystal, like it says crystal, that can go on there. It says china, like my fine china and Polish pottery count as that. So that can go on there. So at a minimum, I always say push for what the regulation says. There are some crews that will say, here's the high value form, put what you want on it, and you can just go to town on it. But if you have one of those crews that say, no, it has to be this or it has to be that, pull out the regulation and say, no, it actually says it can be these types of items. And here are these types of items. You're muted again. Twice in a day.
Back off, Murphy. I am now back to where I started from, for crying out loud. I jinxed it. Anyways.
Like a Monday. We're going to let it go because at least for me, it feels like a Monday.
Yes, I can get behind that. But Kara, great. Thank you. This is my first webinar. This is great. Okay, so Kara, this is for we did our job today. You are why we're here. You and everybody else who's watching either now or on the replay, you know, Megan and I, we bring this information to you because where else does it, what good would it do sitting right here? Absolutely nothing. So taking that experience plus the experiences from other people who've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the handbag, and the shoes, those people, if I were to execute a PCS, I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot different from when I did it before. When my 22-year-old daughter executes her first PCS in about 12 months, it's going to be different than anything that she's ever experienced. This is the place to be. So go look at our past webinars. We started doing this about 1.5 years ago, and we do it every week just for you, to get you those relocation resources that you need, to provide that policy breakdown, and to put you, usually we have guests, and when we have our guests on, that's the time where you're allowed to ask the questions to the source, right? And so come on back. Every week we have something new, a new topic, whether it's about housing and selling your house, or talking to the U.S. Transportation Command, who's with the DoD, or over here with the International Association of Movers, the people who are like physically moving our stuff, like the people who kind of oversee them. Yeah, we talk to these people to figure out what the answers are and get them to you in real time. It's kind of cool. So I'm glad that you attended today, Karen. I hope to see you again next week. Speaking of which,
and really quick, I got the link. We're going to get it dropped here really quick about the claim liability business rules. Page 13 is where it starts about high value items and gives you that description. And right now it says may include, but not limited to, currency, coins, jewelry, silverware, and silver service sets, crystal figurines, furs, objects of art, computer software programs, manuscripts, comic books, baseball cards, stamps, and other collectible items or rare documents can be all included in that. So,
word. Well, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yes, I just think that man, Facebook is being funny today. But so we're actually going to hold those names for some of our Arconis peeps, because we really just want them to get in on the game. But any questions, any comments, any concerns that you have, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Share this with somebody that you know is PCSing. We will go back and we will look at that. If there's any way that we can help, we'll drop those policy links. We will drop links from PCS grades from our blog about anything from moving Oconus to how to keep your kids occupied on a road trip. We've gone over that a couple times, but yes. So any questions you have, go ahead and drop them in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. But until.
Go ahead. And I just want to say, with your questions and comments, if there's a particular topic or subject that you guys want to know more about in regards to PCSing, what you should do, different things, let us know too. We're always looking for other ideas for the webinar and everything. But if you've got a topic that you feel like is important, you need to know more about, whatever it may be, let us know. We're happy to do a webinar and get whoever we need on here to get the information that you need for it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're here for you. You tell us what you need. We'll find a way to make it happen. So until next week, Megan.
This too shall PCS.
Bye, everybody. See you next Wednesday.